It's not uncommon these days to hear people say football teams have basically become businesses. Whether that's true or not, we can certainly debate. After all, in the football world, simple business management principles like economicity, efficiency, and transparency are regularly disregarded. AC Milan, just to name one, hasn't had a profitable year in what feels like a century and changes ownership every 24 months, in what feels more like a Ponzi scheme rather than a business. And yet, they're still alive. So if football teams are turning into businesses, at least for the time being, they're either terrible ones or maybe there's more than meets the eye. Now, despite that premise, there's actually a team that has managed to become a proper, healthy business, a beacon of sanity located in the middle of Bavaria. Bayern Munich is the most well-managed football team on earth, bar none. Unlike their competitors, they're always among the top teams in Europe and managed to do so with an immaculate 29-year-long profitability record. This makes Bayern Munich a benchmark for all European teams to follow, and in this video we'll try to shed some light on how they managed to achieve that. To understand how Bayern operates, we must know the deep structural factors that inform their business model. Some may attribute their success to the fact they're German, and they wouldn't be wrong. Stereotypes apart, most clubs in Germany are in the green. But the German way of doing things, whatever that means, is not an explanation as it only gets you so far. Bayern is not really competing with German teams. They are competing with the giants of Europe, the so-called Super League teams, who often don't play by the same rules. In order to thrive on that stage, a German team would need something more than discipline and financial conservatism. And Bayern just happens to have some really serious advantages. First of all, let's look at Bayern's ownership structure. Allianz, Audi, and Adidas hold 8.33% each, with 75% of the club's stock being held by 290,000 fans. Fan ownership models are the norm in Germany, and are very popular in Spain too. Fan ownership alone doesn't mean your club will win the UCL, but it is generally a model that guarantees stability, communication between the club and its supporters, and ensures that decisions are always taken in the club's best interest, not the owners. That's only one piece of the puzzle, of course. Whether any one club would be better off with that model or a private ownership one is a matter of debate. Barcelona are 100% fan-owned, and last summer they were €5 away from bankruptcy. There's no doubt, however, that it's the best model for Bayern. In fact, it must be noted that Bayern Munich is extremely integrated into its community. Bayern, before being a German team, is a Bavarian team. So much so, the team features the land's name. And that's not a detail. You don't see teams in England scuffling to have West Midlands next to their name. So that's something worth noting. Bayern is as tied to Bavaria as Athletic Bilbao is to the Basque Country. Or maybe not, but it gives the idea. This relationship has profound consequences that go beyond the sheer support of the fans. In order to compete, teams need to sign sponsorships with bigger and bigger multinational brands. From that standpoint, being in the economic powerhouse of Europe is a big advantage, but when Bayern need to sign a multi-million euro deal, they don't even need to leave their land, as 3 of their biggest sponsors and also stockholders are all located within 50 kilometers. This is a recipe for stability that allows Bayern to think long-term, assert their influence, and dominate on both the German and the European scene. They're so dominant, in fact, that they can cancel sponsorships with Qatar Airways. Since 2018, in fact, Bayern fans have expressed their disappointment with the board's decision to sign a sponsorship deal with the airline, due to the Qataris' less than brilliant record on human rights and treatment of workers, a protest that should lead the club not to renew the deal. That's not even an issue. When they'll be gone, Lufthansa won't wait 1 second to get back in. And they kinda already did. Bayern's power and symbiosis with its territory is so apparent. Juventus's president Andrea Agnelli, during a conference at Bocconi University featuring Rummenigge, publicly recognized how Bayern's economic success is a direct consequence of Bavarian culture and ranted that in Italy, big companies like Enel and Eni don't even look at football. Bayern does not only excel in the commercial sector, but also in their matchday operations. That wouldn't be possible without their crown jewel, the Allianz Arena. Bundesliga is famous for its packed stadiums, and the Allianz is no exception, despite its enormous capacity of 75,000 seats. Being able to fill such a stadium week in, week out, not only is a testament to the outstanding support of a fanbase, but is also, of course, a huge source of cash. To measure the profitability of sports venues, analysts use a metric called the revenue per event per available seat. Despite notoriously low ticket prices, Bayern's figure of €49 is among the best in Europe, and has probably improved since we're speaking about 8-year-old data. On top of all that, having great sources of revenue is useless if you squander all of your money on ape NFTs. Luckily, teams can't do it. For now. So the main way they have to complicate their lives is overspending on hype players or overpaying them. Bayern almost never does these things. Yeah, I said almost. It's also true that they have a big advantage in Germany, as they can convince all the best players to join them, often strategically signing them at the end of their contracts, greatly damaging their rivals at home. Wisdom and ruthless opportunism combine together to create the weird accounting artifact of Bayern's squad only being worth €169 million. That's right, Lewandowski is basically worthless according to their books. If you hate yourself enough to watch a video about accounting, I'll explore that phenomenon in a future video. Savvy transfer practices apart, the Bavarians also invest worldwide in their youth academy, with programs spanning the USA, Colombia, Nigeria, and many Asian countries that are at the center of their expansion focus, such as China, India, Korea, and Japan. Expanding outside of Germany and into emerging football markets in Asia is the declared strategy of the Bavarian board, who want to capitalize on the untapped potential of that market and close the gap on Barca and Real Madrid in terms of prestige, global reach, and ultimately, economic power. So far, we've explored the factors that allow the Bavarians to prosper. But as with any billion-euro business, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, not even for Bayern. For starters, it's not a stretch to say they are the most hated club in Germany, along with RB Leipzig. This comes as no surprise, as successful teams often attract hatred as much as they do praise. But there's more to their antagonism than mere rivalry or envy. As we said before, Bayern Munich is the crown jewel of its region, Bavaria, and due to historical reasons we won't explore here, this makes seeking new fans inside of Germany increasingly difficult. Add to that Bayern's predatory transfer practices, aimed at getting the best talents from German competitors, and you've got the perfect recipe for intense hatred. Just in the past 10 years, Bayern bought Lewandowski, Götze and Hummels from Borussia Dortmund, Neuer and Goretzka from Schalke, Süle from Hoffenheim, Gnabry, Upamecano, Pavard, the list goes on and on. So you can see why Bayern's board is so focused on expanding abroad rather than in Germany. Expansion will be one of Bayern's biggest challenges in the coming years. They may excel when it comes to matchday and commercial revenue, but broadcast revenue is where they lag far behind not just the Premier League, but their Spanish competitors too. To give some perspective, Bayern, as champions of Germany, earned €105 million from Bundesliga TV rights. At the same time, last placed Sheffield United pocketed a nice €113 million back in the UK. But the comparison with the EPL is unfair. If we look at Bundesliga's TV rights value as compared with other major leagues in Europe, they're very competitive, and if not for their struggling international TV rights deal, they'd almost equal La Liga's value. The issue at least for Bayern, is that the DFL is run in a more egalitarian fashion, with TV revenue shared more evenly than in other leagues, and thus teams like Real Madrid and Barca earn up to 60% more than Bayern Munich for a comparable performance in their domestic league. Not only that, the Bavarians are rightfully afraid the bullish trend of the Bundesliga won't continue for long because of Bayern's very dominance, making it uninteresting to international audiences. This is exactly why the Bavarians, who have everything to lose from such a reform, are very open to the idea of switching to a playoff model. Speaking about more pressing, present issues, things this season haven't exactly gone the way Khan and his colleagues expected.
Chukwueze's on! Chukwueze! He's done it!
The newly signed coach Julian Nagelsmann failed to make the team shine, and the board is in turmoil over the question of Qatar sponsorships, as well as under investigation from German authorities for alleged wage dumping practices within the youth academy. While these issues are not existential threats, they're at least an indication that the internal situation is a bit chaotic at the moment. The kind of chaos you experience when you put 12 players on the pitch. Speaking of pitch, one season is not nearly enough to judge a manager, but it's also true that Bayern's performances have been underwhelming, especially in cup competitions. They got kicked out from the DFB Pokal in October by a frankly embarrassing margin, and while most fans can get over not participating in the domestic League Cup, the same can't be said about the Champions League, where Bayern, as Nagelsmann himself put it, is expected to reach the semi-finals as a bare minimum. And we all know how that turned out.
The mighty Bayern are beaten, and beaten on their own patch!
Adding to this pile of problems, and on a more long-term note, Bayern will soon be faced with quite a hefty renovation effort. Neuer, Lewandowski and Müller, three pillars of their starting 11, are well into their 30s, and despite they still perform at stellar levels, a forward-looking team like Bayern can't, and certainly won't, lose sight of the big investments that lie ahead of them. Before ending the video, I want to thank you for making it all the way through. I hope you liked it, and I'm very much open to suggestions and requests for future videos, so make sure to let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching, this was Footballing, and see you again soon for the next video.